Welcome back. Still tuned into First Trades, and we at ET Now are celebrating National Nutrition Week. We want to take cognizance of all the startups that are completely revolutionizing the way we think about healthy eating and transforming our lives. And here is a company really that has gone the organic way of life, and I'm talking about how they're empowering farmers and doing great things when it comes to biodiverse food systems. Two brothers, organic farms, and we've got Satyajit Hange, who is the founder. Thank you so much for taking time out. And I just wanted to start off by how really this idea came about, because at a time when we're so accustomed to eating a lot of food outside, or food that is, has very high content of processed foods inside, what really made you come about with this idea, and how important do you think it is?
So, well, we're farmers' son. Hi, Avni. And we're farmers' son, both me and Ajinkya, and we're doing a job in a bank and left and came back to the village to do farming out of interest. But having lived in the urban city and having then gone back to the village and seen how food is grown and what kind of food is eaten, we soon realized that the kind of food in the urban landscape was a lot of food with a lot of preservatives, and that was grown with chemicals and stuff. And that was also harming the soil that the farmers were growing the food on. So it was a no-brainer for us to switch to organic, to switch to sustainable ways of growing food, and then making products without any preservative, additive, binders, fillers, essence, perfume. Basically, food the way it should be, that is good for your health, and growing it the way it should be grown naturally, that is good for the soil health. So I think it was just connecting the dots, having lived in the city and then in the village, and making some sense out of it to do sustainable farming.
Interesting. So 2012, when the idea did come about to you, how did it start then? Did you already own the land or the farmland that you're currently farming on? How did the setup start? Curious to know your story.
Yeah, so like I said, we're sons of farmers. My father's a farmer, and we inherited this land, but he never wanted us to come back and do farming in the village. But out of interest, we came back and started doing farming. So there was some land that we had that we inherited, and on that land, we ran experiments for over 5 years, learning from various sources on how to do organic farming, which is not anymore taught in agricultural colleges or mainstream, education medium. So we had to learn it through various mediums and then started our experiments. So this was land that we inherited. And I think the initial marketing activity started when we tried selling the first produce, which was organic papayas in the mandis, and we did not quite get the right value for it because the trader said that a consumer eats by his eyes first, and organic fruit is ugly and it doesn't appeal to the eye, and later he eats by his tongue. That led us to then focusing on marketing, and then we started doing farmers markets in Mumbai and Bandra. It's been 8 years we've been doing farmers markets regularly every Saturday, Sunday. And that platform gave us access to consumers. It crowdsourced many ideas and gave us an opportunity to tell people how we are growing the food the right way. And then, online came in 5-6 years back, and, that's how the brand grew very organically.
I still recall, about 5-6 years back, I spotted one of your posts on social media, and that's how I got hooked on to your products. But tell me, a project like this, and especially the scale that you've now reached at, Satyajit, requires a lot of financing as well. Now, because you have a banking background, I'm sure it would have been a little easy. But tell me how that journey has panned out for you.
It wasn't easy while doing farming, but I think after doing farming sustainably for 5 years, I think that experience came of some use while we were raising funds. Honestly, we never looked out for funds. I remember the first investor, Vijay, who represents Crest, met us at the farmers market. He was a consumer and used to come and talk with us every Sunday, sit with us. And, after 2 years of purchasing from us, he expressed a desire in helping us build what we were building. So that came about organically. And the latest round that we have raised of approximately $7 million was from Nitin Kamath and Rain Matter, Team Rain Matter, and Raju Chekuri, who's another consumer who sits out of US and San Francisco. So I had to never go out and do a roadshow of sorts, but consumers became investors. In a pre-series round, Sehwag had come to the farm, and he loved what we were doing because he comes from a farming background, and he knows how difficult it is to challenge set systems and do something as revolutionary as organic farming and making products without preservative and additives. And he invested along with Akshay Kumar from Bollywood, and these are all consumers. So I think it's our food which connected to our investors, and they came forward and expressed interest, and we kind of tied up, and that's how we raised our funds for growing it.
Absolutely. But tell me, with the product range that you now have, farm to fork being the concept, where more do you think you can take Two Brothers to? I mean, can it be that one-stop shop wherein perhaps you can either grow your own vegetables or source it from local farmers? And can Two Brothers be that one-stop shop place where then no one has to look any further than that?
You're giving me ideas, but
I am.
doing
Make our life simple.
yeah, but doing fresh veggies and fruits has its own challenges because you require a strong cold chain and cold storage. It has a very short shelf life. The reason why we do a lot of processed is because initially we didn't have capital, and we had to make a product that could last on the shelf for 12 months without requiring any cold storage and cold chaining. So right now the focus is on giving you every product that you require in your kitchen, in your grocery items, from atta to jaggery to oils to ghee to grains, legume, lentil, pulses, rice. I think once this is pretty much sorted, the infrastructure for this is pretty much sorted, the supply chain and the consumer base, then we can look at a point in future with supplying you all fresh vegetables and fruits also, because we now work with 8,000 farmers across 17 states, and farmers trust us because we give them a higher realization for their produce and also handhold them from the seed stage to the harvest stage. And I will like the idea of being a holistic supplier of everything food to a consumer. We are, I would say, halfway there, and with everyone's support, we should do that in the next 3-4 years' time.
Funding would it require for you to actually become that one-stop shop?
Oh, I think it would require a lot of work at the back end, at the supply chain end, and at the front end. Today, I'm selling from my own website, and I, ship it out through couriers. Supplying fruits and veggies in that format is pretty difficult. We do not work with GTMT a lot at the front end. We're building the brand on our own channels and some on quick commerce and marketplaces. But I think doing that would require us to, do a lot of work on the front end and tie up with retail chains and GT and MT, so that this fruit and the fresh chain, has a selling point at the front also. So that would require time and efforts, I think.
So as if now you're saying that, although I keep seeing some variations in your product portfolio every now and then, this is what it is? Or do you plan to take this current range any further, any new product additions that you may be looking at already?
So right now we cater to the ATAs, category. We cater to wood pressed oils. We cater to natural sweeteners like jaggery and jaggery powder and honey. Ghee is one of our best sellers. A lot of legume, lentil, pulses, rices, and stuff. And I think we are stepping into making food which requires some sort of formulations, like the golden milk mix that we're launching this month. Even in a noodle variant that's made out of healthy wheat that does not have any gluten of sorts inside. We're also working on a ketchup that is made out of organically grown tomatoes and does not have sugar as its primary ingredient, but has real tomatoes and does not have any additive and preservatives. We're also working on an alternative for an energy drink. Today's energy drink mixes contain a lot of sugar and a lot of stuff that is not really good for your health, and kids consume this majorly. We are working on an alternative that is made out of millets and has natural sweeteners, and that is actually good for your health. So with the basics in line, some value-added products like noodles and ketchup and a milk mix is what we will look at in the next 1 year's time.
While of course you guys are making great strides and have really become a household name almost, I wanted to understand how you're looking at the competitive intensity, because there are quite a few players out there who are doing, if not the same, very similar things. Does that worry you, or do you think you've created a niche and enough of a name for yourself?
Oh, it doesn't worry me, absolutely. There are so many farmers across India, and there are so many consumers who want access to good food. I'm happy that players are coming inside and investing in this sector, and they're making food available to consumers and farming with farmers if they are in the right way, helping them turn organic. honestly, when we started this, there was nobody to look up to. So we didn't kind of compete with anybody. Nobody was selling ghee and peanut butter, in this space. There were people who were focused on tea and other organic food, but not the variety that we have. So we kind of started selling atta, ghee, peanut butter, and rice, and the variety of stuff. So in that way, we are unique, and that also reflects because a lot of our consumers now are based outside India who order regularly by word of mouth. We have around 6,000 consumers based in the US. So I'm happy that we are breaking new paths, and happy to share this with any other startup that wants to do some work and wants to create a brand in this. So absolutely, there is no feeling of competition, but I think collaboration is required. It's such a huge sector. There is so much of path breaking, and there is so much of disruption to do to the present food industry and the farming industry that I think 100 other startups have enough opportunity to grow and to do good business in this.
So that's all the good, right, Satyajit? Tell me what were the challenges down the road, and where is it that you felt that things could have been smoother or easier for you?
Well, I think on the acquisition front, the consumer acquisition is getting far costlier than it used to be when we started off. I cannot be present and do a farmer's market and speak to consumers like we built a brand in Mumbai and Pune and Delhi. I think the consumer acquisition front is getting a bit tough. I think even modern retail chains are looking at us with the same lens that they look at, to a large FMCG food player. There are various challenges. Our cost of production is far higher because 99.9% are all rail ingredients. So our cost of production is higher. We reward farmers with the realization that is far higher than the market. So I think those touch points are difficult to work with, and we are trying to explain to them that they need to promote and accommodate us in their chains, in their marketplaces, in their quick commerce shelves. So that's a challenge. On the farmer front, I don't see a major challenge because farmers are looking for a solution that is sustainable, that gives them more income, that requires less input cost. The challenge majorly lies on the front end. Consumers are so focused to getting food at a cheap cost, and that cheap cost, I would say, is hampering their health. They do not understand that the real price of food is far more than what they are buying food at now. It is very difficult to comprehend that 1 liter of oil costs, 300 bucks when it requires 3 kgs of oil seeds to make that oil, and the raw material itself is more than 350 rupees. The processing cost, the packaging, the retail distribution cost. I fail to understand how food is sold at such a cheap cost, and that's a challenge to change consumer mindsets to make them realize that the right price of good food is far higher than what they are paying for right now. And in the long term, it works out to be cheaper because they're not compromising on their health and stuff.
Well, I think it's all there in the numbers. If you look at the food inflation numbers, Satyajit, that's people are paying more, trust me. But I wanted to understand, curious to know how involved an investor are both Akshay Kumar and Virender Sehwag.
Oh, Virender Sehwag he came to the farm before he invested, and he comes from a family that keeps a buffalo in his, in their house, and a farmer family. So he was very interested. He actually came down to the ground, saw the entire cow keeping process. He saw the farming process. He saw the processing process. He spent like 1 2 full days, in understanding stuff. And we wanted somebody who has that kind of blood in the game of sorts. So he's pretty invested. Akshay Kumar, once or twice we've spoken on phone, but he's consumed the products. And as a consumer, he comes with those insights where he has been sharing what, the stuff that is kind of trending, but that can be made in the traditional way and that can give better nutrition. And that kind of feedback comes from him. So, there is some sort of involvement from both of them.
Okay, good luck, and you guys are doing a great job. I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.